Hey then guys, welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 13th of October 2021. I'm going to do the usual breakdown on BTC, Bitcoin and CHSB. At the end of the video I'm going to be discussing a DM that I received today, just to kind of help out the person that messaged me. So I'll get to that at the end. The analysis is not going to be very long, so we're going to get stuck into that in a second. Before I do though, if you're enjoying the content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps obviously, and I'm not say fast approaching, but I'm getting close. Every subscriber obviously is getting me closer to that 1,000 sub level, which would be a nice little achievement. So if you can help me get there, I'd really appreciate it, but only if you are sorry, but only if you are enjoying the content. So with Bitcoin, I obviously said, and I actually put my neck on the line and quoted, it was a quote me moment, 60,000, which I do believe we will see this week. Yeah, it's happening anyway. This is a fact. Yeah, Bitcoin is going to 60,000, period. Whether it drops to zero first, I'm going to throw that in there now just in case somebody says, well, I'm going to buy it right now. Regardless of whatever happens in the interim, yeah, it will hit 60,000 again. That's an absolute fact, yeah. So, I said, obviously quote me, it's going there and so on. I do believe we will see it this week. If it takes the extra day, fine, whatever. If it's the weekend, fine, whatever. But, everything is indicating that 60,000 level. The longer it stays here, the more likely it is to pass through 60,000 and keep going. There's a lot of reasons for it to get through 60. There's a lot of stuff over here that it will want to reach into, so we could see 60 to 65, yeah? Sorry, not 65, 60 to 62, yeah? But 60, it's a definite. So, we've obviously seen all of this. I've discussed this many times. The move down into this area of liquidity, the reversal, the drop here, then the reversal, the negation, the pause, the pop, and so on. But what's interesting to point out is this small section of price delivery here. Remember, look at the area that we're in. We're in a daily liquidity pool, okay, and price is in it and staying there. Yeah, so this liquidity is being used. But what's interesting is this candle right here, where you can see we had a really nice drop and a complete reversal. We had a nice response away from that back into the liquidity pool. Then it tried to move lower, pushing up, and then it tried to move lower again today, and it's pushing up. So it's spending time here. Yeah, the longer it spends here, the more likely it is that it's going to go through 60,000. If it just pops now, we will probably get a reaction around about the 60 or just slightly above, and then maybe come back in to this daily liquidity pool. But like I said, it's better that we stay here for a little bit, take some of this liquidity, do what it needs to do, and then pop 60, keep going 62, right? Structurally, it's fantastic. Everything's looking great. We know we've had a really nice run on Bitcoin of late, so I'm not seeing anything else that's indicating this wants to go lower. It's all pointing to the upside. Now, whether or not it pulls everything with it remains to be seen, because again, there's a lot of alts that aren't responding to this Bitcoin move. Even Ethereum at one point just sat stagnant while Bitcoin was becoming a little bit more volatile and was trading, and accumulating. And it started to run a little bit, and Ethereum just kind of sat there around about sort of 3.5, didn't really do anything. Obviously CHSB, which we'll get to in a second, hasn't moved at all, and some of the other altcoins and other projects, they're not really doing much either. Yeah, there are some obviously that are really taken off, and I won't discuss those just yet. But sorry, I'm just looking in the list because I remember the numbers of the prices. Yeah, I mean, again, the responses aren't. We'll say it like this: this move should have ripped the market with it. Should have really got things going. We should have seen some real nice growth on a lot of these projects, a lot of these tokens and coins and so on. But we're not really seeing that. So maybe it's going to take some time for for the rest of the market to catch up. There are some real nice gems. They've moved massively, but unless you're in them, not worth taking interest in those in terms of monetary interest. And then outside of that, like I said, maybe it's just taking a little bit of time for all of this stuff to kind of catch up and move in line with what Bitcoin's doing. But that's my take on Bitcoin for now. So we'll jump over to CHSB. And kind of the usual, guys. I mean, we've discussed this so many times, and unfortunately, this is one of those situations where there's not really much we can do. You know, we revisit the same chart just to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. I did a video series, I believe it was last year, because I've got so many videos I just can't keep track anymore. But I did a video series. No, I've just remembered. It was in the the old Patreon. All the stuff that I deleted on the old Patreon. It was part of that. I've just remembered, and it was the USD CAD. Yeah, and I was doing the forex analysis on USD CAD, and I kept talking about the same thing over and over again. So I was going along, and I was doing, you know, the usual watch list that we look for. And as I was cycling through, every time I got to USD CAD, I just said, nope, shit, and I moved on. And I kept doing this for days and days and weeks and weeks. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, as loads of time went by, and the members just kept seeing me skim past this chart constantly. Nope, not seeing anything. Nope, not seeing anything. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I stopped and I said, now, you know, we've seen something on USD CAD. It's on the watch list, and we started to pay attention to it, which led to probably one of the best studies that I've done online, you know, in terms of price delivery ever. It was brilliant, because we mapped the whole thing from start to finish for weeks. Yeah, but the point is, it took that moment where price did something for us to say, now we can start to pay attention. Because right now, unfortunately, Swissborg is pretty much the same as the example I've just given. Sideways, we had something very similar here, and then obviously we had this nice pop to the upside, you know, and here it's the same thing. We're still stuck inside this weekly liquidity. And this is, as a side note, just to give you a real good example of how strong some of these liquidity pools are on the weekly. Look how long it's taking to get through this. Remember that first pop, that first drop just there as it tapped just in the weekly liquidity. That we obviously, you know, the bigger one's weekly liquidity, and this is the daily. That first tap just there didn't even come into really. It just dipped into this weekly liquidity pool ever so slightly, and then started to kind of grind sideways, and then it moved, right? This has come into it, you know, quite deep, almost halfway through, and dipped into the daily liquidity pool as well. And it's spending time here. It's accumulating. This right here is accumulation. CHSB is accumulating, and the longer it, you know, the longer it spends here, the more likely we are to see a pop like this. Yeah, it would be better if it ramps up slowly and starts to really gain some steam as it goes, and then pause and then start to ramp up again. Yeah, but the longer we stay here, the more likely it is we're going to pop to the upside, right? In quite an explosive fashion like this. Not necessarily exactly like this, but something you know, that we will visually see, and we can say, something's happening on Swissborg, right, or CHSB. So that's the CHSB analysis. Is it worth going down to the 4 hour? Not really. I mean, we're not again seeing anything of significance, nothing major. We can say that right now we're at the upper end of this liquidity pool. Or it was, I mean, where it's sitting right now, it's not within available liquidity or open liquidity within this liquidity pool, because it was all taken here. This whole move right here in the liquidity pool is way deeper than this. So this is just kind of hovering around, and it's actually, if you really want to get technical, as price, and this is a 4 hour obviously, as price is coming into what we think is the weekly liquidity pool, isn't. Yeah, it's actually coming into this here. Yeah, so if I was to draw a box from here to here all the way across, we'd see that we're basically just seeing another fractal of a larger price move. So it's the same stuff over and over and over and over again. But right now, I'm not really seeing anything on Swissborg that's showing me it wants to explode. But I am seeing confirmation, right, that it is definitely being accumulated. So with that said, guys, let me just grab my phone. I just want to quickly go over some of my ideas, and I want to be careful how I say this. I don't want to give anything away, or talk about anybody, so other people know who it is. It's, you know, keep things private. And I'm going to change some of the words. They're not swear words or anything like that. It's not for that reason. But I'm just going to change some of the words to you know, so I don't give it away, just in case anybody. You guys know what I'm saying. I don't want to talk about, names and stuff, unless the person says it's okay to give his name. So I'm going to drop some money into CHSB. Why do people on Twitter keep telling me it's the bottom? I can't. Sorry, it can't go lower, etc. What do you think about that? I'm confused because it can go lower. It has done. It was around 40 cents a few months back. So before I talk about this, I just want to say something. When I receive questions from people, remember, a lot of the stuff that you guys ask me, I've been through. Yeah, so it's not, you're not asking me a question and it's just like, you put something into Google and it just gives you a response. I've actually experienced a lot of this stuff that you guys ask me about. Going on Twitter, back then it wasn't really Twitter, I guess, but going into news forums, going into trading rooms, talking to other people, listening to other people's opinions, and getting pulled in hundreds of different directions. I've experienced all of that, and it's important that you guys really understand that, because I don't want you guys to think that I'm just like haphazardly listening to your questions and then just kind of giving you just a general answer. It's not. It's an answer that comes from a lot of pain and a lot of experience. So pretty much everything that you've experienced, trust me, I've probably been there and done it at an insanely big number. I mean, I've lost so much money over the years. And when I first started, it took me a long time to get to this point, but in the early days, I lost money. It's not a joke. And that's gut-wrenching. So what I want to say to this person is this, first of all, stay the hell away from Twitter. And I said to this person that I'm quite direct, so I'm just going to be direct, Stay the hell away from Twitter, okay? If you cannot go through Twitter, read an opinion and take that with a pinch of salt, and just maybe, keep skim through and just get a general consensus of what people are thinking. If you can't do that, but every time you go on Twitter, you genuinely look at something, that somebody says, and it messes your whole psyche up. You get emotion, you're trying to make a decision, but you can't now because this person said this and that person's saying this. Stay the hell away from Twitter, because you're not doing yourself any favors, and you won't be doing yourself any favors going forward. It's so difficult to pull yourself away from that emotional tug of war when you're listening to other people's opinions and can't prevent the emotional tug of war. Yeah. Stay away from social media. The bottom line is you need to make decisions for yourself, and if you're not experienced enough, then it doesn't matter. You have to learn, period. That's it. There's no way around it. Some people believe that because they're inexperienced in the markets, or because they're inexperienced in what they're doing, that the best way to gain what it is that they want, which in this case is money, obviously, is to just go and get it from somebody else's opinion. Or I'm just going to listen to the general consensus, which, trust me, is generally wrong, right? Especially on, in places like Twitter and everything else. So that's the first thing. And again, I say all of this loosely because I don't want to make any assumptions as to whether you are or aren't. I'm just saying it as it is, as I see it, right? It absolutely can go lower. Yeah, there's nothing stopping CHSB going lower. It can go to $1 million. It can go to 0. It can do whatever it wants. The likelihood of that is obviously not, just in case anybody starts panicking, right? But the question of is that right, or he actually said is it is that bullshit? It's not a question of whether it's bullshit or not. The question is, whatever your investment plan is that solid? Do you know what you actually want? Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to yield. Everybody wants to make X amount per month and live a great life. These aren't goals. Yeah, this is what everybody wants, right? What do you specifically want? Me, I just want to beat the market every day. Done. Not interested in money. I want to beat the market. I want to be able to walk away from my computer or screen or phone and say, do you know what? I beat the market today. Yeah, for me, it's chess every day. That's my goal. Yes, the byproduct of that is I make money. Yes, as time goes by, I accumulate good investments, and hopefully as the years and years and years go by, I'll be in a much stronger position, in my later years. But the real passion and the real desire and the real goal and my plan when I wake up every day, when it comes to the markets and crypto and the investments and all this stuff, is to beat the market. That's it. I just want to beat the market and really hone my skills down to the atom. Yeah. So you really need to define that for you. Define your goal, define your plan. What exactly is it that you're trying to accomplish when you go on Twitter? In this example, go on Twitter, and want to do something, i.e. put money into CHSB, which I'm not telling you to do or not, but put money into CHSB, and then go on Twitter and start to be pulled in lots of different directions and not actually follow through on what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah? So you've got to define it. Define it specifically. This is what I want to do. Yeah? Right now, I give myself permission to make mistakes. I'm not an expert. I've only been doing this for a short period of time, so I have to start to make the effort. I have to learn. Yeah? And I'm not going to learn by going on Twitter. But I will learn from listening to LSP's videos. Yeah, sorry, I had to throw it in there. I will learn, from going online and listening to Ben's videos, yeah, which are fantastic. I will learn, going to sources that don't have millions and millions of subscribers, yeah, just these nice channels where people talk sense, yeah. Use the Discord chat. There's so many people in there that have a wealth of experience that can help. Ask tons of questions as well. That's the best way to learn. And then you put, I'm confused because it can go lower, and it has done. It was around 40 cents a few months back. Absolutely. I know you watch my videos, so you'll know that I'm pretty on point with a lot of the analysis that I do, but that doesn't mean that you can use that information. I do analysis, great, and it might be accurate, but that doesn't mean that I can make money with the analysis that I do. Yeah, that doesn't mean anybody else can make money with the analysis that I do. That's just an assumption. I make money, yes, but I could just as easily lose money. The only reason I don't is because I have my psychology in check. I trade with zero emotions. And you need to be able to do the same. You need to pull yourself away from the tug of war, the psyche that kicks in and says, right, I really want to invest in CHSB. I believe in it. I like the company. It's got great fundamentals. I love what they're trying to accomplish. I love the, the ideas that they're coming up with and so on. Oh, wait a minute. This guy on Twitter just said it's going to go down. Oh, this guy said it's the bottom. This guy said it's going to explode. This guy said it's going to go sideways. Remember, all of these opinions are based on people's P&Ls. Yeah, not always, but generally on people's P&L. If you have a guy that's in profit, Swissborg is going to the moon. If you have somebody who bought at the top and is currently sitting on a loss, yeah, Swissborg is shit and it's going to zero. Yeah, the emotion changes, the viewpoint changes based on people's P&Ls. So again, my advice is stay away from Twitter. Use it obviously, but just stay away from these things. Define what you want, put it on paper. Be specific. And then execute that. Yeah, try and figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the markets. Like I said, everybody wants to sit on their arse in 10 years' time, and get $1,000 a month, or $2,000 a month, or $5,000 a month. Like I said, it's not a goal for me. That's what everybody wants it. If everybody wants it, it's not a goal. Yeah, you need to be specific about what you're trying to accomplish, and then create a plan to just get that. My advice would be to you, as a side note, if you are interested, or you do off your own personal experience, and if your own back are interested or wanting to get into a specific asset, then do it slowly. You don't need to throw everything in there. I would never advocate that everybody puts everything on the line. Anyway, I've always said to people, look for key areas to add to your position and do it consistently and frequently. Yeah. With smaller amounts if you have to, instead of looking for a larger amount and just trying to dump it all in at the same time. And I did say recently in a tweet that your average cost will be better that way. So sorry for the rant. I really hope what I've said makes a difference, or that it helps in some way. And obviously we're all there in the chat to give all of our experience and help as much as we can. And any questions, obviously you can DM me, or you can ask in the chat as well. And you will get an answer. And that's it. So with that said, guys, it's dark now, so I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening. What we've got here? Yeah, I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.